has turned into a cloudy, gloomy day. It was supposed to be a beautiful day here in the collapse of global industrial civilization here in the Finger Lakes of New York, where we are filming from Chateau Fiasco, where thanks to this woman here, I am now living. And so, guys, I'm really embarrassed, I have to say. I have been doing this for a year and a half on Collapse Chronicles, and this is the first time I am bringing the infamous, yet still enigmatic, which we're trying to change, Sandy Shellis from Environmental Coffee House. And this woman, as I say, she is the reason I am living in upstate New York. You can, anyone in upstate New York, you can blame it on her. So anyway, I don't know what we're going to talk about. We're just going to have an organic conversation.
I'm happy to be on Collapse Chronicles. It's really an honor because you do some of the best interviews out there. They are phenomenal. And I have to give you that kudos because I remember Collapse Chronicles.
Hey now.
And so you didn't do interviews. And so your interviewing skills are excellent, and I have to tell you that because I learned from you. And I was doing interviews also, but how we intersected was I was on Facebook mostly. I had started during the Bernie thing, and I didn't even know
what Bernie thing. Yeah. Bernie thing number one.
I didn't even know what a live stream was. But I quickly caught on, and in my career, in my past as a human resource director, I did training. I did some training, and so I had some skills, but I didn't know, anything about it. And I had retired medically because, as everyone in the entire Doomosphere understands, I'm very disabled in the spine. But you have a brain. And so
she does have a brain.
Some people might argue, but it like unfolded for me. I learned about how to do things online, how I lay in bed with a smartphone and can put an article, articles on the Environmental Coffee House. There's a page and a group, right? And people that were like-minded followed me down this path. And when I hit upon this man, it was somebody who I heard and thought, my God, there's somebody who thinks like I do, and it's really hard.
But it wasn't the Bernie thing.
No, it wasn't the Bernie thing at all. It was the collapse of the planet, and it was the things that I knew were happening but really had not been able to articulate, because thus far we were pipeline protesters and
nothing wrong with that.
All of those things, and I, environmentalist, but always an activist. I guess I would say, an activist, even though my job was in human resources, it was over the research function in a university. So I always had something, but pollution was our big thing, Great Lakes pollution. So it just unfolded, and Facebook became YouTube, and YouTube nobody watched me because.
Hey, now we're going to change that.
Well,
we're going to make Sandy a household word.
Oh, I have.
Now that you've hit the big time of
Collapse Chronicles.
Hey, girl.
But I have about 1,500.
In the spotlight.
But there's a team on Environmental Coffee House. It's Jennifer Hines.
Who I've interviewed.
And she's the methane researcher, climate and change researcher, and she's done amazing work. And there's Antonio Reed.
Who I've also interviewed.
And I met him through Sam, who came to our party in Western New York, because I did have a party with all of the East Coast Doomers, and it was great. And then there's Nicholas Humphrey, who is a meteorologist, who we do a show called The State of the Planet once a month because everybody's so busy. And then Nicholas has his Patreon, he has his online, but it just morphed into this. It's not a job, it's my hobby.
This is why I don't interview Nicholas, because she's kind of claimed Nicholas. She kind of stole Antonio away from me, but I let her have him.
Nicholas... Well, everybody loves Antonio.
They do.
And he's got his own show, The Rising Tide. And Nicholas has Climate Changes, and Jennifer has, it was Planet 3, and I think we're working on a new name for Jennifer's. And Jennifer, forgive me if you're watching, I forgot what we came up with for the third one.
The ever-evolving Doomosphere.
And it can be all under the Environmental Coffee House umbrella. Why not? It's already done. And, you know, as I phase out, because really, face it, folks, I'm getting older and I'm getting more disabled, I want younger, other voices to use the venue. And I think that's giving, and we've never asked for donations or anything like that. We just want to educate. And I guess that kind of correlated with moving to Western New York. You know, I lived in Buffalo.
So we need to clear one thing up. So are you a Bernie progressive or are you a doomer chick? Are you or are you not in the doomosphere? How do you define doomosphere?
I hate labels.
So are you or are you not a doomer?
I'm a doomer, but I'm not an apocaloptimist, but I love Bernie Sanders. And I'm a progressive. I can't help it. I interviewed tons of progressives during the before 2018, tons of them, you know, and they were so inspiring. They were young people that just were not the same old dodgy centrist Democrat assholes. These were the new kids that were inspired by Bernie Sanders. I like that. It inspires me. And I don't see any reason to give that up, not to be inspired by someone. It's not a cult of personality. It's policy. And we ain't done yet.
All right, so, but we all need to know. You said you are not an apocaloptimist, but you are still a progressive. Okay, Green New Deal. What do those three words mean to you, Sandy
It means it needs a lot of work. I believe that the Green New Deal, to me, doesn't take into consideration degrowth, rewilding, the things that need to be done. Infrastructure has to be fixed. There are things that have to be fixed, but I guess I'm a lot more controversial when it comes to really what's going to go down. And I think that renewable energies and the things that they're talking about now are really, maybe they're going to be a bridge to the gap, but there's going to be a mass die-off. I'm sorry. The Green New Deal is not going to cut it. I mean, human civilization has got to change, and it's going to probably take that mass die-off between climate change, CO2, the methane that's happening. What is Similitov and her partner have been chronicling this for years. Ecocide, everything's coming to a head. I don't project when, but I don't think the Green New Deal is going to do anything but push. Well, it's not going to change capitalism. It's not going to change the thing that's screwing the whole world up. Sorry. I am sorry. This is a clean show. I'm on my channel, I will announce when I'm going to curse. I'll say, if you're offended by this, then don't watch, because there are certain times I do rant. But I mean, I love that people want to do these things. And I was really supportive of Tulsi Gabbard's Off Fossil Fuels Act. But as I've been down the rabbit hole, I get more and more, I learn, I read. I just think that we can't have growth. The growth model is done. And what's happening now? Well, there's a couple of ways. I mean, we could look at things like they know, the 1%, the elites, whatever the hell you want to call them.
Do you think they know, or are they completely as clueless as everybody
Well,
else?
there's two schools of thought. I'm not a conspiracy person, obviously, because I we came up with cap trails. You know, they're not chemtrails, they're cap trails. Capitalism has caused the exponential increase in flight, and when you live like I do with major airports like Toronto and Rochester and all that, you see that the trails, but they're not. Nobody's saying. I'm not saying anybody's doing this on purpose. They're not spraying us. Okay, that's my opinion. It's based in some good fact. But all of that. Are we going to be able to, I guess where I'm going, with a Green New Deal or any of it, are we going to be able to stop any of this?
I don't think the Green New Deal is going to stop cap trails.
No, it's not. And
I don't know if they touch aviation.
They do. On the Twitter sphere, they make fun of AOC. They've made big fun of her saying that she wants to stop flying, flights. They don't want to have airplanes. Which I don't think is what she said. They want a bridge and they want to get the technology. These are the techies, like the Andrew Yang types, the people that believe that human ingenuity, and I do believe in human ingenuity, is going to come up with these solutions, but in the long run, they're not solutions that are going to preserve 7.7 billion people on the planet to keep going to 10. I don't care what people say about vertical farming and all that stuff. I just don't see any of it happening. I see that there will be pretty bad things going on that are, and it's going to touch all of us if it hasn't touched you already. And it's touched me. We've had a tornado already that's out of character.
In upstate New York, you brought me up here to Tornado
Western
Alley.
New York, you're not in Tornado Alley, but it was a freak thing. But it's happened. And so I suppose if you want to label me, I'm a doomer chick with, I still have my feet in the politosphere. I have Trump derangement syndrome. I hate that guy.
Yes, you can cop to Trump derangement
I made
syndrome.
a video called that, but it was basically after.
What is the definition of Trump derangement syndrome
mine
for
is
you?
completely different.
Let's hear your description of your own derangement syndrome.
Okay, I'm deranged because I can't stand the guy.
How does it play out?
It plays out because his policies are hideous. They're going to rape and pillage and plunder in Alaska and Songus, and they've done it to Bears Ears, and they're building a wall that's an ecological nightmare. So Trump derangement syndrome for me is an ecocidal feeling that I am sick of watching this get. It's on steroids. We thought Obama and fracking and pushing the fracking was bad. At least there were protections put in, and now we've rolled back everything like with abandon, as if, as I was saying, and not to sound like a conspiracy, but as if the entire freaking world of political people and leaders know that we've passed the tipping point. So they're going to exploit every single thing.
Is that how you're reading it? I mean, I honestly am on the fence about it. You know, Andy the gardener says they're as clueless as the rest of us.
Well, see, that's why I'm on the fence. I wouldn't know. It's only, I just am observing people's opinions, or I'm observing things, but I can't say that for sure, because a person then like Donald Trump, he's doing this, it's all profit, it's all money. He doesn't care about ecology. He's not an environmentalist. They see gold lame. They see, HGTV constantly telling people, buy, build, more. So I don't have a commitment to say that the global elites or the 1% knows, and that's why they're destroying the planet with abandon. It's just a theory. Okay, it's a theory. I don't commit to any one theory. I commit to what makes sense to me.
What makes sense to you? What makes sense to you at this point?
Okay,
in
at this
2019,
age,
what the hell makes sense to you?
Getting rid of capitalism, which is, I think, destroying the planet. Nations, even the United Nations, which people, well, whatever they say about that, but implementing degrowth where people don't think it's population degrowth on purpose. Not anybody killing. And what did I hear you say on an interview about Modi in India? Has admitted that they have.
I really need to follow up on that.
Yeah, there's some research to be done that maybe there's some leaders in question that are understanding of the population problem, but we hope they don't do it in a way that is like China's. That backfired. Their one-child policy kind of backfired, but that it's could sweep a worldwide understanding of not having like birth strike or not having kids or having one kid, but it can't be something forced. People won't do it, and it can't be a militarized thing. But degrowth and stopping building, stop it. The building trades are horrible. Nobody
have you
ever
heard of
talks
the
about
Chinese Belt and Road Initiative?
Of course,
the single biggest building boom in human history.
Of course,
since we climbed down from the trees, it will pretty much double everything on the planet. is what the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative.
And we'll
will do.
go out with a bang, I guess, because
It's the final kahuna as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and between the Arctic, which is I think one of the number one issues, the Arctic melting and the methane and the ice, and which is bringing sea level rise, but the tipping points up there and the weather patterns and the jet streams. I mean, I follow a lot of people, and I mean, Nicholas is on the team. It's not a pretty picture, and I don't see. I don't see the Green New Deal solving that.
You don't see it keeping the methane tent down?
No. I don't. So am I a doomer chick?
You could be a doomer chick. You might be a doomer chick, yeah.
Who happens to like burning? Put me down, but I don't know. I guess the whole thing is I know that I say often that I'd love to see us go down with class and not go down with like fascism, when the curtain comes down on humanity. Wouldn't it be nice at least if humanity went out with some class and some
Do you see any direction of this happening,
justice?
unfolding, looking around the planet from Donald Trump to Bolsonaro
There's pockets.
to where?
There's,
Give me
in
one pocket.
Canada, there's the guy that's against Trudeau.
Okay, the guy who's against Trudeau. All right.
He's
You've saved
gaining
yourself.
a little bit of popularity. He is the progressive up there. There's little pockets of change, but I don't think it's sweeping enough because of the militarization of all of these countries and the push to, drill the Arctic. I just think it's on a collision course with, goodbye. And of course I don't have a time frame.
I was just going to say. So
But I'm the person
you're
that also
wisely.
I like XR. I think that XR has a lot of merit, but I also think personally, and I follow a few people that I've formulated some thoughts on. I've thought for a long time you have to infiltrate. Sometimes I think if you want to change the system, you be part of the system and you change the system, but you can't get corrupted once you're in it. It's kind of like, and I'm not trying to think of things like it's some kind of espionage movie, but how do you bring down a system unless you're in it somehow?
Well,
I don't know.
It has to be a subversive act at this point, but it ain't going to happen. Did you
That we know.
Did you
There's
read
my
or listen to
conspiracy.
Tim Watkins' essay last week?
Yes.
I don't know if you. I thought that
Tim
was pretty
Watkins,
spot on.
and there was another one.
And well, Chris Martinson. I mean, good for Chris.
Who was
Good
that
for
other
Chris
guy?
Martinson spelling it out,
Yeah.
man. I mean,
Yeah.
that took some cojones for Chris Martinson to get up there and spell it out. It's a joke. It ain't gonna happen.
No, but we have to live, and that's where we
We
come
have to
to
live.
now, where we are. Community.
So talk about that for a
okay.
minute. So let's talk about Upstate New York. Now you've always been a New Yorker, so you're not a climate change
I grew up in
refugee like me.
California. I was born in New York. We moved to California. My father was actually a brilliant person in mass transit. He was one of those guys that didn't want to see the freeways expand. He was one of those guys that was in California to work on the Marin County Transit District and BART and mass transit so that it wasn't, but I guess he was kind of railroaded out of the system because, the fossil fuel industry didn't like people like him. And we moved back to New York. I grew up on the Hudson, and I made my way through marriage and life and all that to Buffalo. And so I've been in Western New York since 1993. And before that I was in the foothills of the Catskills up on the top of a mountain. My kid was little. I have one child, she's 31.
And she's not a breeder.
No, she proclaimed at 16 to me, I am not a breeder, Mom. And that was what she said, and she stuck to it. And they travel, her and her guy, they like to travel and do things, and they saw the Misfits this weekend in New York City. So if that gives you an indication of who my daughter is, yes.
So, but you no longer live in Buffalo. You moved to a small town in rural
Yes.
New York. What was that about?
I medically retired from the university, from the school system, And we decided that we thought it would be nice. My husband's an outdoorsman. He's a conservationist. He's an outdoorsman. And we moved down to a very rural Amish area. Got some land, not a lot, not even about shy of 6 acres.
Not even half as much land
Yeah,
as I've got at Chateau Fiasco.
Yeah, really.
Aching back acres.
It's just beautiful here. But we just did it because I wanted to be away from people, and I love being isolated. And
So what year
shitty.
did you make the move from City to
bought the
Western?
house in 2014 in October,
All right,
and then moved
so
there.
exactly 5
No,
years.
because we didn't move there till April.
Okay,
The
4.5.
following
So
April
4.5
15th.
years. But you didn't. I mean, that decision had nothing to do with any sort of survivalist prepper.
Yeah, it
doomer.
did. It had to get.
Oh, really?
It had to do with getting the hell away from people. We both were not enamored. We had lived in a townhouse, and we saw that it was just crowded, and there was nothing wild about anything. My husband had made the whole back little thing into raised beds and gardens, and we wanted to live that life. Maybe it didn't have to do with, the crushing down of climate change, but it sure had to do with getting away from the encroachment of civilization more and more. I had lived on the lake for a long time, and developments and people and the school district having to get bigger, and the same insanity that happens in community after community.
So your
after
doomer
community.
seeds were planted.
They were planted, but they
But
didn't come out
They
until
didn't start blossoming.
No, and then when I found you, forget about it. My brother from another mother, which he is part of my family. My parents met him. I mean, we're family.
Yes, be careful about interviewing your own sister for these things. That's probably why it's been so long since I've interviewed this woman. So, Upstate New York. Well, here I am.
And here we are. We're about, 2 hours apart, which is okay. That's fine.
There's all sorts of doomers in Upstate New York,
Yeah.
some of whose names we don't mention, but
No.
James Howard Kunstler, Gerald Salente.
Well, I'm in Western. That's Central. You bridge in between Central and
I'm in
Western.
the Finger Lakes.
Yeah, and I'm all the way in Western. I'm on the southern tier, and it is beautiful. It's Amish there a lot of Amish farms. I've done live streams on Amish farms and showed them for intentional communities. And you should check our channel out, especially the State of the Planet once a month. I think you'll enjoy those guys. Everybody together.
So you recommend, she is the reason I'm here, as I say.
I recommend it.
If I did not know this woman, I would not be living in Chateau Fiasco.
And there was an article about Buffalo being one of the best
Oh,
areas
yeah,
for climate change.
Yeah, that.
But I don't want y'all to move
There you
here. No, we want community. We want a sense of and it's starting a chain of people that are like thinkers. And where I live, there are a lot of progressives, and I do believe there are a few that are like thinkers to me, because they follow environmental coffee house, and they know what I did, my hobby. It's my hobby because I really can't do much of anything else.
Except talking about doom and gloom.
Doom and gloom, but not always. I do a lot of reading lately, just of articles, just maybe of one article, and discuss it with the commenters, because my research skills, and I suffer, I'm not going to lie, I'm a chronic pain patient, I have some pretty bad spine issues, and it has hampered a lot of my ability to do a lot more of what my mind wants to do. I would be out there. I would love to just be out there with XR. I would. It would be something.
You would be out there with them?
Fuck.
Damn, that's two of them.
Heck yeah. It would be, just because it's an experience, and I was a marcher, I took Dawn in the carriage for the NARAL protests in D.C. when she was a baby, and that's 30 years ago. It's in me to do that. But even if I just always say, do everything you possibly can. Just don't think of the end result, which we all know what the end result is, because it's not going to be pretty. But still do what you can. Just don't alienate the regular guy. Don't make them hate us because we're. That's the only thing with XR. You think about it. Sometimes if you're interfering with people getting to work and all, how are they going to want to listen to the message when they're angry at you? But I'm no expert. God, no, am I no expert. Please don't judge me on that. I'm just spewing something. I have friends in XR, in Tampa. I've interviewed a guy, Mike from XR, Warren Whistler, from XR in Tampa, and they're doing things in Florida. So, no, I don't begrudge anybody.
There you go. But
I think we've covered a lot, and we're not even a half an hour, are we?
right at it.
Pretty good. We don't need to go very far. Plus, I'm uncomfortable for too long. But Collapse Chronicles is an amazing channel, and I hope that you further prosper and be able to continue all of these interviews because they're so good, and I have learned so much. Your line of questioning, I guess I'm in your fan club. I'm in his fan club.
All right, my doomer groupies.
Yeah. No, I'm not a groupie.
You're not a groupie.
No groupie. I don't have that kind of thing in me. No groupie. Just a
Good
fan.
for you.
Just a fan. No groupie and no cult of personality. But anyway, thank you. Thank you.
All right, we're going to make this a short one because I know we already had to move down on the floor with some rigid back support.
Yeah.
So we got
that couch would have killed me.
our Doomer Dog duo here.
Bye, guys.
Where's your Doomer Dog duo?
Come here, babies. Are you here?
He's over there somewhere.
Oh. Are you? Yeah, but he's kind of like not wanting to.
Okay, he doesn't want to get up.
I don't think he's feeling. He
No,
ran around a lot.
Sancho
yesterday.
Panza is not feeling good today.
No, he ran around a lot yesterday.
This is Miles from St. Croix.
Oh.
And if you want one of these little Doomer Dogs, you can get them in St. Croix. St. Croix Doomer Dogs.
All right,
guys, it was fun. Environmental Coffee House, if you want to hear this woman yammer on and on and on.
Yeah, but I only do a video a week, and we do the State of the Planet once a month.
All right.
And every now and then Antonio does his Rising Tide. But you can find Nicholas Humphrey on Facebook and Patreon. There's my little shameless self-promotion.
Go ahead and
Saying about me.
shamelessly promote.
Not about me, it's about them.
All right.
And Jonathan O, I gotta go. His artwork. He has he does all of this comic stuff on Environmental Coffee House, I forgot. And it's really dark and interesting stuff. It's called Jesus Crisis.
Jesus Crisis.
Yep. Environmental Coffee House.
Jesus Crisis.
He has an entire comic of dark, doomerish, political stuff. It's good. It's good. All right, guys. Bye again.
Okay.
We're done.
Bye, guys.